I'm Camille.
And I'm Gretchen. Welcome to Starting Over. We're so happy that y'all are here.
Welcome back.
We weren't here last week. I was out of town.
Races.
But we're back. We're back. And I love how you always think of, I think you do it from your clients. You're like, oh, that would be a good one.
I have a lot.
That would be a good one.
I make a list. I do.
Okay, so what do you want to talk about this week?
Well, I was kind of looking at how do you know you're in alignment? How do you know you're on track? What are the signs that, I call them God crumbs a little bit, but how do you know you're in the right field or in the right energy? And I think for me, it isn't that everything's perfect and it works out all the time. There's just a level of focus, and for me, things just keep on going. It feels perpetual. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So how do I know I'm in the right career? Well, people keep calling. It's like my marketing plan has been my phone rings because I need to keep doing what I'm doing. So that's kind of how I marketed. Never really marketed. And I'm trying to figure that out. But honestly, it's like something keeps happening. It's perpetual, and that's what validates that I feel like I'm in the right place, and I feel aligned, and I'm growing. I don't feel like I'm stuck.
Dr. Wayne Dyer was actually writing about this in one of his books. I was listening to this talk, and if you follow Abraham Hicks or any of these people that kind of channel whatever, one of the things they always talk about, and I've proven it in my life, is it doesn't matter what's going on around you. You can still have chaos, but you can have peace in that chaos.
Yeah.
So like you said, you don't have to have the perfect scenario in order for you to feel better, because that becomes a condition.
Yes.
So if you say to yourself, once I get this job, or once I get this money, or once the relationship comes the way I want it to, then I'm going to feel better. You have to learn to teach yourself how to feel better prior to anything ever changing. And when you can find peace in your chaos, when you can find peace without a manifestation or a prayer happening, then you know you're in alignment. And what happens after that is it all starts showing up.
That's right. Well, and what you just said about kind of you're stepping into the reality you want to experience, and if you think I got to have money for that, I got to be thin for that, you don't got to have any of that stuff. In fact, you can experience all of that energy right now, because if I want a brand new sports car, because that sports car is going to give you what sensation, what feeling, what life experience. I'm going to feel free. I'm going to feel wild. I'm going to feel alive. You can feel all those things right now without that car.
Right.
And that's what she's talking about. Is there's always a way. You don't have to have the stuff out here to make it work. If you're in alignment, you can align yourself to that experience, that life experience, anytime.
And it goes back to when you feel it, then you will see it. So I was reading this article that this lady was talking about mirror work, and she's a coach, and she said, you know what? I get so good at mirror work. Mirror work is where you speak to yourself in the mirror and you proclaim, or you
kind of command, right?
You do. You basically are acting. You're saying what has happened that hasn't happened yet, and you're basically putting it out there. So she said, I was in the mirror one time and I was so excited. I was saying, yes, we have secured this some kind of place that she wanted to have this
property,
seminar. Yeah. We've secured it and it's sold out. And she was jumping up and down and she was jumping on the bed, and her husband walks in. He's like, what the hell? Well, it hadn't even happened yet. It hadn't even been assigned a date. Yeah. And sure enough, it happened. And of course, now he's like, do whatever you got to do, girl.
Keep on doing that. Yeah.
But she took on the role.
Yeah, she took on the energy.
She took on the energy. She proclaimed it. She, she made that part of who she was before it ever happened.
Yeah.
And I know we've talked about this. I think we've mentioned it on podcasts. I talk about this with my clients. You remember when you used to go to the doctor's office before they had digital scales, and you had the ones that slid, right?
Right.
The foundational weight never changes.
That's right.
Which is God, which is the true you, whatever you want to call it.
The authentic version of you. Yeah.
But the one that's up top is the one that has to align with this one in order for it to balance out.
Yeah.
So while this one never changes, we in life can change, and we have to find where do we go so we can match up,
line up,
and be in alignment with that.
That's exactly right.
So when you have this alignment that Camille's talking about, you will feel a peace about you, even if you don't have answers, or even if you don't have things, in front of you that you want.
Yeah.
You'll have a feeling of, it's okay.
Yeah, it's like you're syncing up,
Mm-hmm.
And there is this, and people have to be able to get quiet and just tap into their sensation, and it's a present time feeling. I think moods, emotions can be from the past and they can cloud the moment. But if you're not clear, you're not going to be able to feel if you are aligned. And it's a feeling, it's a refining, and it is like you're syncing up to what feels true. And it isn't like you can do it all in one day. It's like, today I'm going to align in this way. And that's the feeling you want to get. So you have a sense of peace, you have a sense of calm. I remember a teaching that I learned from one of my mentors a long time ago, and he said, look, kinesiology, you've heard of kinesiology? Yeah. So kinesiology is where you're testing the body, because the body can't lie. So, and it's for vitamins when I did it. So it's like, here's a product, put it right here on your solar plexus. Do I need, 1 or 2, this vitamin? Your body will lean forward for truth and pull back if it's not true. You ever tried that?
No, but I have a crystal that swings.
Okay.
And a circular motion is yes, and a line back and forth is no.
So that's exactly the same kind of version. And if you've got, and some people will hold their fingers, and they will pull and they'll ask questions and that kind of thing. But look, I think that all these things aren't, they're not here to trick us. They're here to give us a sense of peace about that. Mm-hmm. And if you feel comfort and peace, and again, it may change tomorrow. That person may die. They may betray you. They may be like, is this an alignment? Am I in an aligned relationship? For now, you are. If you have that sense that you're connected and there's the peace, for now you are. But that doesn't mean it's going to be happily ever after forever. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't mean, so Camille, well, they broke up with me. Why did this happen? It wasn't an alignment. Or was it? So it's happening because it's supposed to happen the way it happened. Does that make sense?
It happens not only for that, but it also happens based on what we believe.
Yeah.
So I know you have, life is this way, y'all. Whether you're coming to see Camille or myself, it doesn't matter. But you predict what's going to happen based on what you think and feel.
Yeah.
So when you have people, and we talk often about, don't be the victim. But when you have people that say, this always happens, I'm always cheated on, people always treat me this way. Well, what you're saying to the universe, what you're proclaiming is, give me more of it.
Yeah.
Because I'm declaring it always happens.
You're validating that's your reality. That's right. Yeah. Well, and I think for people to change that pattern, whatever that is, you must quit resisting it. So the more you resist something, the more it's going to persist.
Yep.
So if it's bad, sick, and wrong, and I can't have it, or this has happened, you have to accept it. But you want to be able to stand in the ability to kind of go, okay, I'm just not going to fight this. I'm not going to resist it. Let them do what they're going to do. Thank them for sharing, so to speak. But the more you get entangled in it, the more you get upset about something, how it's going down, and you're resisting or trying to control it, then you're keeping that around longer.
Absolutely. It's like Abraham Hicks talks about, if you're going to get in a tube, and the ultimate goal is you want to float downstream. Your car is down there, your friends are down there, but you get in the water, you get in that tube, and you start paddling upstream. It's not going to take you far. Mm-hmm. You're going to get tired, you're going to get frustrated, and nothing you want is upstream. Yeah. So what Camille's talking about is resistance. When we predispose something in a negative way, this always happens. I'm sure this is what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I bet you this happens, right?
Yep. Nothing good ever happens to me.
No, they always act this way. I can predict
right.
how they're going to act, right? Mm-hmm. We don't allow any change to happen because we've already set the intention that that's what's going to be, and the universe goes, okay.
And think about why we do that. What are we avoiding by, I know how it's going to go? If I know how it's going to go, I'm in control of it. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to have no surprises. I'm not going to be shocked or surprised. It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because I would rather this outcome, because I'm familiar with this. I know how to deal with this kind of thing, because I don't dare actually hope. I don't dare actually just trust. See, to me, it's a lack of ability to just surrender and trust to the will of heaven.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think, and I will say this, okay, I think we live in a culture, doesn't matter where you live, but I think we live in a culture, especially with religion, that we don't really understand what faith is.
Right.
We know what the word is, we know the actions of what we're supposed to do, but really taking it, and I can say this because going with, dealing with cancer, that was kind of my first moment of what is faith? What does that really mean? And so for me to project whole and healthy when I wasn't, I had the faith that someday I was going to be whole and healthy.
Yeah.
And I looked at it like that someday is now.
Yeah.
And yet I think there are people, Camille, I know people that I've had in my life, they would rather be the victim and tell the poor me story and get that attention than actually get what they really want.
That's right.
Which is happiness and joy and love and acceptance.
Yeah. Well, and I know you've seen some of these people. There's series about people that are pretending to have cancer and they don't, for the attention, for the pity. Look, I don't know what you're manifesting with lies, right? Because when you're with you, you know what you're putting out there. And again, part of living in alignment is living in your truth. The truth. I'm not saying it's you're always in the truth, but that you are aligned mostly as best you can be to the truth, how you see it.
Right.
And that's what's critical. And so when people are like, how do I get in alignment? How do I know I'm in alignment? Is it your truth? Is it something you are sensing and this feels right? When you're getting your eyes checked and this or that, it's kind of like you have to lean into, well, you have to ask yourself, is this exactly what I need to be doing? Is this my truth? Or is there something else I need to be doing? And asking yourself and always testing what feels the best for me and then staying in what feels the best for you. We always kind of do know. I think all of us know. There's a natural knowing we all have, right?
Oh, of course.
And so when you have that natural
guidance.
knowing, exactly, we all have that. We all have that spiritual intuition.
One of the things that's helped me a lot, and these are just habits that I've had to kind of reprogram myself into doing. And one of the things before I go to bed is I'm not going to read emails.
Yeah.
Because if there's problems, that means I'm thinking about it all night long. And B, I'm very particular about who I follow on social media. So if somebody's showing nothing but negativity or, that's just the feed that's coming through, that is not what I am following because I don't want that to be a source of negativity. So before I fall asleep, I kind of go through my day super fast. Like I don't dwell on anything. And if there's anything that I wished would have been different, I let it go. And so then after I say my thank yous, thank you so much for this, I give my gratitude. Then I talk about I want to sleep well tonight. I want my subconscious mind to be programmed with nothing but good and positive things. Yeah. And when I wake up in the morning, I want to have a heart of gratitude. So I'm basically saying what I want.
Yeah.
And then I've taught myself, well, when I do wake up, I'm not checking my phone right off the bat. I love what you do. You go outside.
Yeah. I stand in front of the sun. Yeah.
Stand in front of the sun and you make your proclamations to the day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so I, before I ever pee, before I ever do anything that reminds me of now I'm back to life, it is all a matter of, I learned this doing cancer and I do it every time. Oh my gosh, lungs, thank you so much for breathing for me all night long. And bloodstream, thank you so much for all that you did. And organs, I was asleep and you did everything. Thank you so much. I mean, I really just make it such a habit that what you've done is you're taking that first step into the day where you don't have resistance.
Right.
You're allowing that scale to be in alignment before you ever start tackling problems of the day.
Yeah, yeah, very good. Well, and I think, honestly, that the first morning moments, like you're talking about, have you ever woke up from a dream and you just feel like you're getting training or information? I have that all the time. And so I want to continue that. So I'll lay there as I'm kind of waking up. Okay, what else, God? What else, God? And so I feel like I'm being shown something. But I think that those are the moments before the phone, before your feet hit the floor, you go to the bathroom, whatever. You're literally just listening.
Yeah.
And so that's what you're talking about is just listening to that energy. And then, and that, your scale, it's like there's a balance there. You haven't had that day yet. And so anything is possible in that moment.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
anything's possible.
And that's the beautiful thing about starting over is, you don't have to wait till tomorrow to start a new day.
You start over every day.
You start over at any moment. So being in a gauge of your feelings is your indicator. Really, that is your guidance going, here I am on this part of the scale. You're not in alignment. So because you have negative feelings, that's telling you you need to get back into alignment
Right.
because this isn't moving. So it's really negative feelings is a good indicator of a reminder of like, hey, make a shift, start over,
Yeah.
start a new thought, start something, do something, think something differently that will get you back into that alignment of feeling good.
That's right. That's right.
Because what's going to happen is the more you get into this type of a practice, the more you will recognize how wonderful your life is, even without the blessings or the manifestations or answered prayers. You'll start recognizing how wonderful your life is, and then you'll start seeing more wonderful things in your life.
Yeah.
Whereas I think sometimes we can get so focused on, I know what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And
Control,
I need
control,
it by
control.
this time. And
Yeah.
now I'm missing all the opportunities and things that could have been happening or that could have been shouting at me, Gretchen,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm so focused on the lack of what's not there.
Yes.
Most of the time, we, in our prayers, sometimes we can find ourselves praying for things that we don't want.
Yeah.
Please don't give me this. I don't want that. Instead of say, what do you want? What do you want? It's like if you asked your kid, what do you want for dinner? Well, I don't want this and I don't want this. After a while, you'd be like, girl or
Right.
guy, I got it. What do you want? What
Yeah.
do you want?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and even in the prayers, it's almost, some people pray and they say, I never forget what I pray for. It never happens. You may be thankful for unanswered prayers at some point. There's so many times people say, I prayed for that, and I'm so glad it didn't happen like that, right?
Right.
But it's almost like people get impatient. They want it now. They want what they want right now, and they don't want to wait for it. But that right there is ripping people off. I had a client say to me, I have done this and this and this, and the universe is still not giving me what I want. I haven't met him yet. I haven't met him yet. Okay, so again, you're doing it to get an outcome. And that right there is, again, you're trying to control, you're giving to get. You're doing something to get. Fine, just know you're doing that. But when I pointed that out, I said, look, this is what you're kind of creating. It's like, oh. And so if you're doing this in a false way, that's not an alignment either. You're lying to yourself.
Right.
So
right.
you want to be authentic and maybe lower the expectations and then do what feels good right here, right now, without that next person in your life, without the new job.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to, this is where the work is you have to continue to be there for you in self-care and heal and sense who you are and give yourself grace.
Yeah. Remember,
Give
too,
yourself
that
grace,
the
yeah.
universe doesn't hear words.
It hears energy.
It is your vibration. It's your feeling.
That's
It's all of that. And so even when you say, oh, no, I have faith and I believe that this is going to happen, if you don't,
Yeah.
it's never hearing the words.
That's right.
So it's so important, which is what we teach here at Starting Over, is pay attention to your feelings.
Yes.
When you feel that alignment, it doesn't matter what is happening around you. You feel it. You're okay.
Yeah.
You're okay. It's like people that have peace when maybe something really terrible has just been presented to them.
Yeah.
And they'll say, I always had peace during that. It was
Yeah.
okay. I had the peace. And I know,
Yeah.
heck, I know during cancer, it was like, you know what, I'm taken care of.
Yeah. And that even in hard moments like that, then no matter where you are, what's going on, you have a choice in how you're going to handle that, how you're going to feel. And so if you're present to it and you're not making it mean something, you're not resisting it, because the resistance is going to cause it to last longer. You have to accept it as it is.
Yeah.
And that's when the magic happens. You accept every moment as it's happening. And again, you're staying in alignment every second like that. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense. I want y'all to think about this exercise. Just think about just trying this out at some moment. When we ponder, when we pray, most of the time it's in our head.
Yeah.
Most of the time we're thinking of what we're asking. But if you can just focus on pulling everything into your heart, pulling
good.
everything into your heart, and then listening and feeling from your heart and not your head. Because the body follows energy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very
And
true.
so feelings are what we're
Well, that's
creating
what creates.
from.
Yeah. That's what creates.
And so when you think and you create and you have appreciation and you have all of this awareness from your heart, you're leaving the resistance of your mind out of it.
Yeah.
And then you will start to trust your intuition because we know where it's coming from. You'll
Yeah.
start to trust those feelings, those gut feelings, those things that lead you to this pathway or that pathway. Camille and I just had a Zoom call tonight with a gentleman that landed literally in my lap
Yeah,
as far as
that's great.
business when I haven't even thought of or seen this person in over 30 years.
Isn't that incredible?
And it was just the way it all kind of unfolded for me was like, I couldn't have planned that. I couldn't have figured it out, but that's okay. I had become at a place in my heart where I was open to being led to those certain things. And so I think that's what you're saying is try not to be in your head of figuring out how it needs to happen, when it needs to happen, and through whom. Just say to
It's
God,
happening.
universe, whatever you want to call, hey, I am your vessel.
Yeah.
I work for you. Show me what you want me to do.
Yep.
And you'll be led.
That's right. I believe that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just slow down. Just keep yourself in the moment, and you will sense where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to say and what you're supposed to do. Ask yourself that. What do I need to do right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it will be shown to you.
We promise you, these are not our laws. These are
universal laws.
These are universal laws, y'all. We appreciate you being here. Starting Over series is what we have on this podcast. If you'd like to get a hold of us, you can go to our website at
startingovercommunications.com.
All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.